In this video, we will talk about using strings in Python. So I'm going to declare a variable, and in this variable, I'm going to assign hello world here, right? And to print this hello world, we can just write print, and inside the parentheses, we can use this x variable, and when we run the code, it runs. So we already know how to use this kind of string in Python. The second way of creating a string is you can use the single quotes instead of double quotes, and this is also a valid string. So this will also work. So let me just print this also, which is hello world using single quotes, and when I am going to run this, it's going to give me the result. Let me remove this spaces between the print and these parentheses. So let's say you want to add a single quote into this hello world string. So let's say I want to just write hello single quote s hellos world. So this is totally possible in Python. So whenever you surround your string using double quotes, you can just add this single quote without any problem. But when you do the same with this string, this will give you a problem, because now Python thinks that your string starts from here and ends at this place just after hello, and this will be seen as some kind of garbage by Python. So in order to use these single quotes inside the string which uses single quote, you use a escape character, and the escape character in Python is backslash. Okay, so when you add a backslash in front of a character, Python interpreter knows that it's a escape character, so this will be treated as a valid string. So let me just print the result, and you can see it prints the same result now. Now let's say I want to use a double quote in this string which uses double quote already. So I'm going to just give a double quote here, and the same problem arises which we have seen in the string with single quote. So to escape this, you can also use backslash, and the problem will be gone. And let's run the program, and it gives us this hello world with double quote. So you can print this double quote using this escape character, which is backslash. Now let's say you want to print a string with a backslash itself. So I can add a backslash here, and I want to add a backslash here, and let's save the code and let's run it, and let's see if it runs or not. So it turns out that you can use this kind of notation in Python. Also, when you use double backslashes here and here, let's see what happens. So when we run the code, it will give us the same result, because one backslash is a escape character and other backslash is the part of the string. So it will print the same result. So you can use this for escaping this character, or you can remove this. The result will be same. So now let me edit these two strings, and I'm going to use hello here with the capital H, and I'm also going to assign hello to the y variable with a small h here. Now Python provides us some inbuilt functions which you can use with strings. So this is a string, right? So you can use some methods related to strings on the x and y variable. So let's see what are these methods. So after the x, I can just press dot, and you can see so many suggestions is given to us by PyCharm, and this is called IntelliSense, which is provided by PyCharm to us. And IntelliSense means that whenever you type something, PyCharm will try to suggest you some supporting code for whatever you are typing. So let's use some method which are suggested to us. So I'm going to use this capitalize method. So let's use this capitalize method with the x and y variable, and let's see what happens. So I'm going to run the code, and you can see now the upper string is printed same, but the lower string is printed with a capital H in front of it. So this capitalize method capitalizes the first letter of the string. Now let's see what are some of the other method which we can use. So there is a method called upper, and also there is a method called dot lower. So let me just rewrite this hello in all capitals, and let's run the code now. And you can see in the result, the upper method has converted our string into all upper letters, and the lower method has converted our string into all lower letters. Now in Python, everything is an object. So using these square bracket, you can extract each and every letter based upon their index. So for example, I write index 0 here, and in the y I'm going to use the same square bracket, and I'm going to write 1 here, which is the index 1, and let me run the code, and it prints the first character of the string because it's at index 0, and here you can see the second character of the string which is at index 1. So always remember, indexes starts from 0, not from 1. Now in Python, you can also get the substring out of a string. So here inside these square brackets, I can just write that I want a substring out of this complete string, first 3 letters of this string. So I can just start from 0, and I can just say I just want to stop at 3. That means we will get, I think, the first 3 characters of the string. Also, let me add some spaces into the second string here. And in Python, there is a method called strip. So I'm going to just use this strip method, and let's run the code first of all, and let's see what happens. So you can see, first of all, this print has printed first 3 letters of this string. So you can see this notation means that we are telling Python to give a substring starting from 0 until 2, until the index 2. Okay, and we are saying that we want to stop at index 2. That's why we write 3 here. Now if you want to just print HELL, we can write here 0 to 4, and then we can run the code, and then we get HELL. If you want to get only ELL, you can write 1 to 4 here, and then it will give you ELL out of this string. And this is how you can strip your string. So strip means the spaces from the start and end will be stripped of this string. Now let me show some other method related to the strings. So first method I want to show here is, there is a method called is lower, and then there is a method called is upper, and then there is a method called dot replace, which is used to replace some character inside the string. So let's say I want to replace capital H by, let's say, J. And the last method I want to show is how to split the string, but that we will see in a moment. So let's run this code, and the first result says false because this string is not lower. When we write all letters in lowercase, then only it will give us true. Otherwise, this method is lower will give us false. Now let's rerun the code, and now it gives us true because now every letter in this string is lower. Second method gave us true because we were checking whether every letter in this string is capital or not. The next method replace is used to replace the character if it's there in your string, and replace it with this character if this character is found in your string. So this capital H is not present in our string, right? So let's just add this capital H into our string, and let's see what's the result. So now the capital H is replaced by capital J here in the result. The next method which you can use with the string is a split method. So you can write y dot split, and this is used to split your string using any character. So I'm going to once again write hello, comma, world here, and I want to split this string using this character which is comma. So I can just write using single quote these comma, and once I run the code, you can see it gives us an array of two members. One is hello and other is world with a space, right? Because we have splitted our string using this character, that's why the space is here, right? So that's why you can see this space here also in the second element of this array. So there are number of methods which are associated with string which you can use, and for knowing all these methods you just need to write your variable which contains a string and then just write dot, and you will be able to see the suggestions which you can use with the strings. So you can use the title method, for example, or you can use the translate method, or you can use all these methods which are available here. Okay, so just see all these suggestions and see what you can use from these methods. Also, if you don't have any variable in which you have assigned your string, you can directly take your string, for example hello, and then you can just write dot after this hello, and once again you will see all these suggestions because this hello is also a string. Let me show you one last thing which you can use with string very quickly. So you can write print here, and then if you want to print this hello, for example 10 times, how will you do this? So you can just write, for example, x comma x comma x. This is how you can do this. Let's say you want to print this hello 100 times. How you can do this? So there is a trick in Python which you can use, and this is using these asterisks. You can print the string multiple times. So for example, I want to print this hello 10 times. I can just write my string variable name asterisk the number of time I want to iterate this string. So let me run the code, and you can see now this hello is printed 10 times. Let me provide the space here, so there will be a space between the two hellos, right? Let's say I want to print hello 100 times, then I can just write 100 here and then run the code, and it will print this hello 100 times on the terminal. So this is how you can use strings in Python. I hope you have learned something new this time. I will see you in the next video. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use lists in Python. So first of all, what are lists? So list in Python is a kind of collection which allows us to put many values in a single variable. You can also say that list is an ordered set of values. So let's define a list. So I'm going to just say x is equal to, and you can define a list inside these square brackets, and inside the list you provide some values. So for example, I'm going to provide the values 3, 5, 4, 9, 7, 10. So this is how you can create a list in Python, and when I press enter, it's going to create a list, and when I just use x to get the list, it's going to provide me all the values in the list. Now these values which are inside the list are called elements. So 3 is an element, or 5 is an element, or all these values in this list are all called elements. And all these elements are ordered by their index. Now index, as I already said in the previous videos also, always starts from 0. So we can fetch the value which is at index 0 using this square bracket once again with the variable name, and then when I write index 0, it's going to give me the element which is saved at index 0. So looking at this list, 3 is at index 0, 5 is at index 1, 4 is at index 2, and so on. So let's say I want to get the value which is at index 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to just write x square bracket 4, and it is going to give me 7, which is saved at index 4. Now it's not necessary that list must contain all the same data type elements. So for example, I can also declare a variable called y, and in this I can save some name, for example Max. I can save integer, let's say 1. I can save a decimal value, let's say 15.5. I can save other list inside this list using these square brackets, for example 3, 2. So one list can contain different type of data types with any number of elements. So when I press enter, and this time I want to get the value which is at index 0, it's going to give me max. And once I want to get the value which is saved at index 3, then it's going to give me this list which I have saved at index 3. Now when you try to access the index which is not there, so I'm going to just write y and then I'm going to say 100, and this value is not present in this list at this index. So I'm going to press enter, and it's going to give me the error which says list index out of range. Now if you want to get the length of the list, you can use the inbuilt function in Python which is len, and then your list name. So for example, I want to find out the length of list x. It's going to give me 6. It's going to give me 6 because you can see here this list contains 6 elements. Or I want to get the length of the second list which is y, and it's going to give us 4 because this list contains 4 elements. Now it's also possible to insert and remove elements from the list. So for example, I'm going to use x which has 6 elements till now, and I'm going to insert the 7th element. So I can use a method called insert, and you can see this method takes an index and the object name. So I'm going to choose this, and the index at which I want to insert the value is at index 2, and the value I want to insert is some string, for example Tom, and I'm going to press enter, and I'm going to print the values inside the x list. Then you can see now this list has 7 elements, and Tom is inserted at the index 2 because we have inserted this value at the index 2. In a similar way, you can remove something from a list also. So to remove something, you can use your variable name, for example x dot remove, and the value you want to remove. So for example, once again I want to remove this name which I have inserted at index 2, and once again when I print the value of x, it's going to give me these values. Now let's say the list contains 2 elements which are exactly the same. So I'm going to insert one more element at index 1, and this element will be 3, for example, and now my list contains double 3 here. And if I want to remove this 3, so I'm going to just call this remove function once again, and I will say 3 here and then press enter. You can see only 1 3 is removed from this list. So you can see these 3 are at index 0 and index 1. So this value is removed which is at index 0, and this will remain in this list. So if a list contains duplicate values, it's going to remove the value from the left, and also remove is going to remove only one object which is found first in the list. Now if you try to remove the element which is not there in the list, so I'm going to remove something which is not even there in this list, then it's going to give us this error which says that this is a value error and it cannot remove this value from the list. Now there is one more function with the list which is a pop method, and this we can use to remove the values from the last. So you can see our list was previously having 6 elements and 10 was the last element, and when you use this function which is pop, it's going to pop this 10 from the list. And now let's see the content of the list. So now this list contains only 5 elements and the last element is now removed. Once again, when you use this pop method, it's going to remove the 7, and now our list only contains 4 elements. Now let's say you want to delete the whole list. So I'm going to declare a list, and this list will contain a few values, and then I will press enter, and you can see the values of list. And now I can use a function called del and then the name of the list, and this function is going to delete this list. So I'm going to just press enter and then once again try to access the values inside this variable, and now it says the name Z is not defined because delete function has deleted this list. Now once again I'm going to create this list Z, and now there is a function called clear which is used to remove all the values from the list. So I'm going to just press enter and then try to access the value of Z, and you can see this list is now empty because we have used the clear function which is used to empty the list. Let me show you a few more functions related to lists. So let's say I can use X, and the values inside X are 3, 5, 4, 9, and I can use a function called sort to sort all these integer values inside the list. And once I press enter now you can see all the values are sorted, and you can see all the values are sorted in ascending order. You can also use this method x dot reverse, and it's going to reverse all the values. So once I use the reverse function, and then when I try to get all the values inside the list, you can see all the values are now reversed. There is also a function called append, and here you can append anything to your list. So I want to append 10 to my list, and when I try to access this list, you can see at last this 10 is appended in my list. Also, if you want to copy one list into another, you can use, let's say I'm going to declare a variable called s here, and I want to copy all the values from X list. I can use x dot copy, and this is going to copy all the content of my X list into this new variable called s. So you can see all the values are copied into the variable s. So let me append something into my list once again. So I'm going to append 10 once again, and now my list looks like this. And there is a function called count, using which you can count the number of element which are there in the list. So I want to find how many number of 10 are there in the list. It's going to return me 2. And once again I want to count how many 3s are there in the list. It's going to return me 1. Let's say I want to count how many hundreds are there in my list, and it's going to return 0. So this is how you can use lists in Python. You can also use the list name and then dot and see all the methods which are available related to list here, and you can use these method which you see here. In this video, we are going to see how to use tuples in Python. So first of all, what are tuples? So tuples are very similar to lists. That is, they are used to store the collection of elements in a single variable, but there is a very important difference between them, and that difference is tuples are immutable. Immutable means once tuples are created, they cannot be changed, or the content in them cannot be changed. So let's see how we can declare a tuple. So I'm going to declare a variable called x, and I'm going to assign some values to it. Now in case of list, we have seen we used the square brackets. In the case of tuples, we use these parentheses in order to store the list of elements. So I can just write 1, 5, 3, 4, and 8 for example, and then press enter, and it's going to create a tuple. Now in order to print the tuple, you can use x, and it's going to print this tuple. Now as I said, tuples are similar to lists in some ways, and that means you can call a tuple element by a index in tuple. So all the tuple elements are arranged by their index, and when you want to, for example, get the first element here, you give the index 0 and then press enter, and it's going to give you the value which is saved at index 0. Let's get the value which is saved at index 4, and I'm going to press enter, and you can see it gives 8 which is saved at index 4. Now when I try to give an index which is not there, for example 100, it's going to give us error which says index error, tuple index out of range. Now as I said, tuples are immutable. That is, you cannot change the content of a tuple if they are initialized once. So let's try to test this. So I'm going to just assign the value at index 0, which is, let's say, 2, and I'm going to press enter, and you can see it says type error, tuple object does not support item assignment. That is, you cannot assign any other value to a tuple element if they are once initialized. Now that also means that you cannot use some of the functions which you used with lists in the tuples. For example, you cannot remove any element, you cannot append any element, you cannot change any element. So for example, when I write x here and then press dot, you can see there are few methods which are available with the tuple. And most important is this count method. So let's try to use this count method. And I want to know how many number of 8 which are there in this tuple, and it will give me 1 because 8 is only present once in this tuple. If 8 is present twice in this tuple, here you will see the result 2. Now in order to get the length of the tuple, you can use the inbuilt function which is len and then the tuple name and then press enter, and it's going to give you the length of the tuple. Now in the previous video I have told you that you can save multiple data type values in lists. Let's see if we can do the same with tuples or not. So I'm going to give the parenthesis, I'm going to give the first value as integer, second value as a string, third value as for example the decimal value, and I'm going to press enter, and I'm going to get the value of y, and you can see it's totally possible to save multiple data type values in our tuple. So now I have declared two tuples, one is x and other is y. So let's print x and y once again very quickly. And now what we want to do is we want to use a concatenation operators. So as I said, tuples are immutable, but let me define a third tuple here, and I want to add x tuple and y tuple here, and I want to assign the value to z. Is it possible? Let's check. So I'm going to just once again see the contents in the z variable, and you can see when you use this plus operator or concatenation operator, it's going to join these two tuple and create a new tuple with the combination of the values of both these tuples. Now there is one interesting thing which you can do with a tuple, which is you can declare a variable, and let me define a tuple with only one element, and I'm going to just give hi here, and then after this element I'm going to provide comma here. So this is important, I have provided this comma and I haven't provided the second element in the tuple, and I can use an asterisk here and I can use some value here. So let's say I have provided 5 here, and I'm going to press enter, and then I'm going to see the values inside this a variable, and now you can see hi string is saved 5 times in a variable in the form of a tuple. So you can once again get this value at index 2 for example, and it's going to give you the value which is stored at index 2, which is hi itself. You can also use an inbuilt function called max here to get the maximum value out of a tuple. So max, and I have provided x tuple here, and you will be able to see it will give us the maximum value stored in that tuple. And you can see here 8 is the maximum value which is there inside the tuple. We can also get the minimum value using min function, and it's going to give you the minimum value which is stored inside the tuple. And also you can use our del function to delete a tuple. So let's say I want to delete this tuple which is z here, so I can just write the name of the tuple after del and space and then press enter, and now once again when I try to get the value of z, it's going to give me error which says name z is not defined. So in order to delete the tuple, you can use the del function. So this is how you can use tuples in Python. In this video, we are going to learn how to use sets in Python. So first of all, what are sets? So a set is an unordered collection with no duplicate elements and no indexing. So let's see how we can use sets in Python. So you can declare a variable and then is equal to, and you define the elements in set in a curly bracket. So you can define multiple values here, for example 1, 2, 5, 4, 7, 9. But keep in mind that set cannot have duplicate values. So each value in set must be a unique value. So for example, what happens when we define a set with some duplicate values? So I'm going to just declare this set and press enter here, and this set is created. Now whenever I try to access the values inside this set A, then it's going to give me this set, and you can see the 2, which was a duplicate which we have defined here, is removed from this set. So a set always have unique values, and if you define a set with duplicate values, it's going to remove the duplicate values and only save the unique values in the set. So let's see some of the methods related to sets, and the first method is, as always, len method, and you can find the length of a set using this len method and the name of the set, which returns the length of a set. You can also use a add function, so a dot add, to add a element in a set. So I want to add 10, for example, into my set. I can use this and then press enter, and once again when I try to get the values inside this set A, you can see 10 is added to this set. But this 10 will only be added if it's already not there in the set. If it's already there in the set, nothing will happen. So let's try to add once again 10 to this set, which already have a set, and once again you will see that nothing happens inside the set because 10 was already there. Now if you want to add multiple values in a set, you can use a update method. So you can call this method, which is update, and then inside the curly brackets you need to provide these multiple values. So let's add some values into this set. So I'm going to add 15, 18, 17, let's say, and 14. Okay, and then press enter, and now I will see the values inside the set, and you can see all these values are added to the set. You can also remove the values from the set. So I can use a method called remove, and let's say I want to remove 18 from this set. I can just give the element and then press enter, and once again I will try to access the set, and you can see 18 is removed from this set. Now there is a method called discard also. So let's see how we can use this method. Discard works similar to remove method. So for example, I want to remove this 17 from my set. I can write 17 here and it works fine, right? So when I try to access the value of A, 17 is removed. So what is the difference between a discard method and a remove method? So a remove method, whenever you use a remove method and you try to remove an element which is not there in the set, for example, I will try to remove 100 which is not there in the set, it's going to throw an exception and it says key error 100. Now if you try to do the same thing using a discard method, so I'm going to use a dot discard here and try to discard 100 from the set which is not there in the set, it's not going to give me any error. And that's the difference between discard and remove. So remove throws an error when an element is not there, but discard doesn't throw any error. It's not going to do anything if the value is not there in the set. Now there is a pop method also you can use with set. So I can use this pop method and then press enter, and what it's going to do is it's going to remove any random element from your set. So it's not necessary that it's going to remove the element from the left hand side or the right hand side. It will remove any random element from the set. Also, for example, I will declare a set of names, let's say, and if you want to clear the set, you can use a clear method. So I can use this clear method in order to empty this set. So now when I try to access the values inside the set, you can see it's an empty set with no values. If you want to delete a set, you can use a del function and then the name of your set and then press enter, and once you delete it, when you try to access it, it's going to give you an error that name is not defined. Now you can also create a set using a set constructor. So instead of these curly brackets, you can write set, and in the double parenthesis, so you need to provide the double parenthesis here in order to create a set using the set constructor. So this is also going to create this set called name, and when I try to access the values inside the set name, you can see it has created this set of names. Also, you can convert a list into a set. So let me define a variable called z, and then I can use a set constructor, and inside these parentheses I can use these square brackets which we use generally with lists, and then you can define your list here and then press enter, and this list will be converted to a set, and you can see the result here. Now similar to the mathematical set operations like union, intersection, difference, symmetric difference, you can also use these mathematical operations related to set on the Python sets also. So let's see how we can use this mathematical set operations on our Python sets. So let me once again define a set. I have already one set which is A, which contains these values, for example, and I will define a set B with some other set of values. So I'm going to define a set with, for example, so that is the content of the set B. Okay, so now I have two sets, and on these two sets I want to perform some set operations which are also used in mathematics. So you can find out the union of two sets using an operator called OR. Okay, so when I write A and this pipe symbol which is called OR B, it's going to give me the union of these two sets. And what is the union? So union of two sets contain all the elements that are there in the set A or in the set B. So OR here is important, right? So I'm going to press enter, and you can see it's going to give me the union of A and B. That means this set contains all the elements that are there in set A or in set B. Also, I can use a method called union instead of this OR operator. So I can use a variable dot union. There is a method called union, and then you can write B here and then press enter, which is going to give you the same answer. Okay, so you can either use this union method or this OR operator. Now let's see how we can find out the intersection between two sets. So in order to find out the intersection, you use A and this operator AND, and then your next set, which is B here. So what is an intersection of two sets? So intersection of two sets contains all the elements that are there in both the set, that means set A and set B. Okay, so when I press enter, you can see it gives me two elements inside the set, and these two elements are there both in the A set and the B set. That's why we get only two values, because these two values are there in set A and set B also. Again, you can use a method called intersection. So A intersection and then B, which is going to give me the same answer. So either you can use this method or you can use this operator. Now let's find out the difference between two sets. So what is a difference between two sets? A difference of two sets contains all the elements that are in A but not in B. Okay, so you can find out the difference by this minus operator here. So when you write A minus B, you will be able to get the difference between these two sets. And this result will contain all the elements that are in A but not in B. You can also use b minus a, and then it's going to give you other result, because this time it's going to give you a set which contains all the elements that are there in b and not in a. So difference between set a minus b is totally different from b minus a. And also you can use a difference method. So a, then you can call a difference method b, and it's going to give you the same kind of answer you can see here. And also you can call b dot difference a, and it's going to give you the another answer of b minus a. Now you can also find out the symmetric difference between two sets. And what is the symmetric difference between two sets? A symmetric difference between two sets contains all the elements that are either in set A but not in set B, or they are there in set B but not in set A. So this is the symmetric difference, and you can find out the symmetric difference using this cap symbol and then B. So A cap B, I don't know what is the exact name of this symbol. You can find out by yourself, and when you do this, it's going to give you the symmetric difference between A and B. And whenever you find out the symmetric difference, then when you do, for example, B, this cap symbol, A, it's going to give you the same answer, because symmetric difference give you same answer. Whether you give A cap B or B cap A, the answer will be always same. Also, you can use a method symmetric difference. So you can use this method called symmetric difference B, and it's going to give you the same kind of result. Now, one last thing I want to show here is sets are not indexed or ordered. So whenever you want to find out, for example, A and the value at index 0, it's going to give you an error because there are no indexes in a set and they are not ordered by any index. So sets are unordered collection of values. Now if you want to find out what all other methods you can use with sets, you can create a set and then write the name of your set and then press dot here, and you will be able to see this is the list of all the methods which you can use with the sets. Also, if you want to list out all the methods which you can use with sets, you can use this inbuilt function dir, and then you can provide any set name here, which is your variable name, and then press enter. And once again, it's going to print the list of all the method which you can use with the sets. So this is how you can use sets in Python. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use dictionaries in Python. So first of all, what are dictionaries? So dictionaries in Python are like associative lists or a map. Now you can think of dictionary as a list of pairs. So let me show you how to define a dictionary. So you can define any variable name, and to define a dictionary, first of all you use these curly brackets, and inside these curly brackets you provide a list of key value pairs. So let's provide the list of key value pairs. So first key is name, and the name is Max. The second key is, for example, age, and the age of Max is, let's say, 14. And we can also write here in which year he was born. So we can just write year, and he was born in 2004, for example. And I'm going to press enter here, and once again I'm going to just access the values inside this dictionary, which is D, and you can see our dictionary is created now. So as I said, dictionary is a list of key value pairs, and all these values which you see here before this colon are called keys. So name is a key here, year is a key here, and age is a key here. And whatever values you see after the colon are called values. So Max is a value, 2004 is a value, and 14 is a value. And you can access the values from a dictionary based upon their keys. So for example, I have this dictionary D, I can use this square bracket and the key name. For example, I want to get the name value. I can just give the name key here and then press enter, and it's going to return me the associated value related to key name. In the same way, you can use other keys also, for example age, and I'm going to press enter and it's going to give me 14, which is the value. So age is a key here and 14 is the value. Now what type of data types you can store in a dictionary? So as key you can define any data type. So let me define a new dictionary here, and I'm going to give these curly brackets, and as I said, you can define a string value as key. Also you can define a number as a key, for example 15:15. Let's try the float values. So I'm going to just write 15:15.1. This is also allowed in dictionary. So you can use string values, you can use integer values, you can use decimal values as key, and also let's try the boolean values. So you can use the boolean values also as keys, and you can use a tuple also as a key. So I'm going to just give a tuple 2, 3, and then I'm going to assign a value of 5 to this key. And as values also you can use string values or decimal values or integer values or a boolean values or any kind of collection you can use as a value. So I'm going to press enter here, and now to access, let's say we want to access the value for this key, which is this tuple. So I'm going to just enter this tuple inside these square brackets, and it's going to return me 5. Or I can just provide inside the square bracket true here and then press enter, and it's going to return me the value which is associated with it, which is true itself. Or I can just write here 15, and it's going to return me 15 in turn, because 15 is associated with this value, which is also 15. Now what happens when a key is not there and we try to access it? So I'm going to just access 100 from this e-dictionary. It's going to give us error that this key is not present in the dictionary. You can also use the len method to find out the number of items in the dictionary, and you can see it says 5 items are there in the dictionary E, and we can count these items. So this is 1 item, 2 item, 3 item, 4 item, and the 5th item is here. Or in other words, you can also say that len function is going to return you the number of key value pairs which are stored in a dictionary. You can also use, for example, I'm going to use my D dictionary now, and you can also use a method called get, and then you can give the key name here in the parenthesis. So let's say I want to get the value associated with the name key. I can get it like this, and it's going to give me the value associated with the name key. You can also add a new key. So this D dictionary, you can see there are right now 3 key value pairs, and I can add one more key value pair. So to add a key value pair, you need to just write D, and in the square bracket you just need to give the name of the new key. So I'm going to just write surname here, which is the name of the new key in the dictionary D, and then you need to give the value associated with that key. So when I press enter, and once again when I try to access the values inside the dictionary, now you can see that surname is added to your dictionary. Now if you want to remove any key value pair from a list, then you can use d.pop method and then the name of the key which you want to remove. Let's say we want to remove the surname once again, which we have added, and you can just press enter, and now you can just print the values inside D. Now you can see the surname key value pair is removed. You can also use a clear function. So let's see what's there in the E dictionary. So these are the values inside E dictionary. I can use e.clear to clear the values inside the E dictionary. So once again when I try to access E, it will give me the empty dictionary. Also, you can delete the dictionary using del function and the name of the dictionary. And when I press enter and when I try to access this dictionary E once again, it's going to say that this name is not defined. You can also update the values in a dictionary. So this is my dictionary and I want to update the name, for example. So I can use the dictionary name and then the key here, for example, name, and the new name I want to associate with this key is, let's say, a new name here. And when I try to access this dictionary once again, you can see the name is changed. You can also use a method called update to update this key value pair. So once again, I want to change the key value pair, which is name. So I can give this curly bracket and then give the key value pair which I want to change. So name, and the new name will be Max once again. And once again, when I try to access the dictionary, it will give me this dictionary and you can see the name is updated now. Now there is a function in dictionary called keys, which is used to list out all the keys of that dictionary. So you can see it will list out all the keys of the particular dictionary. There is also a function called values, which will list out all the values of that dictionary. If you want to list out all the key value pairs, you can use the function called items here and it will give you the key value pair list. Now the last function I want to show here is, let me list out the content of the dictionary first of all. So there is one more function which you can use here which is pop item, and you don't need to give any argument with this pop item. When you press enter, it's going to remove the last key value pair which you have added or updated. So here we have updated this name key value pair, that's why this is removed. And now when you try to see the content of the dictionary, this name key value pair is removed. So this is how you can use dictionaries in Python. In this video, we will talk about the slice function in Python, and also we will talk about how to use negative numbers with index in Python. So let's get started. So first of all, I'm going to declare a list. So now we have three variables. First is a list, second is a tuple, and third is a string. Now there is a function called slice which you can use with your lists, tuples and strings to slice something out of your collection. So to use this slice, I'm going to declare a variable and then I'm going to use this function which is slice, and you can provide some parameters in the parentheses here. So the first parameter you can provide here is, for example, start. The second parameter you can provide here is the end, and the third parameter you can provide here is the step. So let's say I want to get out of this list the numbers from 0 to 4. So as a first argument, we can define number 0, which is the first index, and at the end index we can define 5, and then I'm going to press enter, and once again I'm going to use my list variable and pass this x variable which contains the slice object which is returned by this function here, and then press enter. And you can see here it gives me the values from 0 to 4. So the first argument in the slice function is the index from where you want to start. The next parameter is the index of the element before which you want to stop. Okay, so if you want to stop at 4, you provide the index 5. If you want to stop at index 5, you will provide the stop value as 6. Okay, so it will be always one more than what you want. Now there is a short notation for achieving the same also, and for that you can use your list, and inside the square bracket you can provide the start value and the end value, and then press enter, and it's going to give you the answer. But instead of comma, I need to provide the colon here, and then it will give me the answer. Okay, so here you can use colon to give the start value and the end value, and also an optional value which you can give as a third parameter, which we will see in a moment. Okay, so this is the short notation of creating slice in Python. So as I said, this is the start value and this is the end value plus 1. Okay, so let me show you something. I have a list here, and you can see here I have written, you have the variable a, it can be a list, it can be a tuple, or it can be a string, and inside the square brackets you give the start value and the end value separated by this colon symbol, and what it's going to give you is the items from start through end minus 1. Okay, so whatever end value you will give here, you will get the value end minus 1. You can also use this notation, so start colon and without giving the end value, and also reverse is possible, so you can give only the end value and not the start value, and also this notation is possible. So we will see one by one how to use all these notations. So first of all, I will give, once again I will use the tuple now, and this time I'm going to just give the start value. Let's say I want to start from 4 here and then colon and then press enter, and it's going to give me the result from index 4 until the end of this tuple. Once again, let me give the end value. So instead of using this value before colon, this time I will give the value after the colon, and I will leave the start value blank. And here let's say I just want to go before 6, so I'm going to press enter, and you can see it will give me the result from 0 to 5, that is end value minus 1, right? So until 5. And also you can give this kind of notation. So this time I'm going to use the string variable, and you can use colon without giving the start and end value, and when I press enter, it's going to give me the whole string. Let's say if with this string I want to provide the start and end value, let's say 0 to 5, and then press enter, it's going to give me a string from 0 to 4. So this slice functionality you can use with the tuples, lists, and also with the string, or essentially whatever collection which have the indexes, you can use this kind of slice notation with those kind of collections. Now in addition with the start and end value, you can also give the step values. So let me just print the value of a once again, and you can see the values inside the a, and let's say I want to get out of this list 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, so essentially I want the every second value from the list. So what I can do here is I can give the variable name and then start to end, so from 0 to index 9, and the third argument here you can give is the step. So let's say I want to get the every second value, so I can give 2 here and then press enter, and it returns me 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. Now let's say I want to get every third value, so I can write 3 here, and it's going to give me 0, 3, 6. Okay, in a similar manner, if I want to get the every fourth value, I can write 4 here and then press enter, and it gives me 0, 4, 8. Also, if you don't want to give this range from start to end, you can leave the start and end value as blank and then press enter, and it's going to give you the same result. Now in Python, you can use indexes with the negative numbers also. So let me explain what I mean by negative number index. So let's say I have a string called Python. It have these character Python. You already know that you can access the P character or P letter using the index 0, and the Y letter using the index 1, and the T letter using the index 2. So this is the positive index, right? You can also use the negative index, which starts from the right hand side. So it starts from N, and the index you can give here is from -1. So the last index here will be -1, then -2, -3, -4, -5, and -6 here. So let's use these kind of indexes and let's see how we can use them. So we have this string here, and let's say I want to get this value, which is 9, which is the last letter of the string. So I can use C, and here inside the square bracket I can give -1 and then press enter, and it's going to give me the last letter of the string. If I give -2 here, it will give me the second last letter. Okay, so the negative index starts from the right hand side and it goes from -1 till the end of the string. Now let's use this negative number index with the list which we have. So we have this A list, and we can use A, and then we can give a colon -1, which is going to give you all the numbers in the reverse order in the list. So our list was starting from 0 to 9. It will give us 9 to 0 in the reverse order. Now let's say if you want to get the first two item in the reverse order. So this is when you use this -1 as the third parameter, it will give you everything in the reverse order. Okay, so -1 as the step value is used to give everything in the reverse order. So when you give, for example, 1 here and leave the end parameter empty, it's going to give you, you can see, 1 0. So as you can see, our list starts from 0 1, and it's going to give us the reverse order values. So it's going to give us 1 0, because here we have given 1 and it's the end value for this reverse string because we have used the -1 here. Let's take some more examples. So instead of the start value, I can give -3 here and then press enter, and you can see it gives us 8 and 9, which are the last two items of the list in the reverse format. Okay, because our index in reverse starts from -1, -2, -3, and we are skipping the -3 option because we have seen that we just take the end -1, right? So -1, -2, and these will be given to us in the reverse order because we have used -1 here. Now you can also give, for example, -3 as the start value. So I'm going to give the -3 as the start value and then press enter, and it's going to give us 0 to 7, right? So 0 to 7 except 8 and 9 in the reverse order. So because 3 this time is the start value and end value is until the, so because 3 this time is the start value, so we go from -1, -2, -3. So -3 is this index and this is the start value. So we get 0 to 7 in the reverse order. So this is how you can use slice function and negative values with indexes in Python. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Please rate, comment and subscribe, and bye for now.